Welcome in the newest tutorial. Today we are gonna create some ornaments together, and it's actually my first time trying to make resin ornaments, and I wanted to do them in geode style. So let's try it together and we'll see what we can learn. And I'm gonna use Apex resin 1 coat because it's super high viscosity, it's curing in 2 hours. And I'm gonna use Goddess Druzy elements like colored druzy in color Sapphire and Lagoon, and also some glitter from Druzy Goddess. And I'm putting some druzy in the cups. It's Lagoon Whisper and Sapphire Wings, and I'm gonna mix it with resin. And this is the final product in 2 different cups, and I want to apply both of the colors to have a little bit of different shades. And I think it's the best use for the colored druzy when you actually try to mix different shades of similar colors. And I made some actually pretty mix up and ingredients and little highlighters when I was mixing 3 or 4 different shades of blue or purple or pink or green. It's absolutely amazing what you can create, but let's focus here on what we are doing, and we are gonna apply a little bit of druzy on top of the ornaments, and I actually prepared them first with some spray paint, and I also tape the sides as well as the tip of the ornament canvas to make sure that we have clean edges, clean bottom, and also that we have neutral color on the background and it's not wood, plain wood. So remember to do this before you start working with any kind of druzy or resin, to have just neutral background. And I'm just shaping different elements on top of the ornaments, and it's actually my first try on the ornaments. And I must say that I actually, next time when I will be doing them, I will let them cure first and then I will try pouring the resin, because I feel like they're soaking in much more resin when you let the wet druzy just be there, right? If you let the druzy cure first, I think it's gonna soak much less resin and have a little bit of different shape. But this time I was doing everything in one go. It's actually, I created those ornaments in one day, and I was doing the top coat on the second day. And this is all thanks to the 2 hours curing resin. So this is amazing. On the same day evening I was already able to paint the lines with Posca pens. And this is my little experiment. I was using the same druzy, but this time on very dark background, and as you can see, you cannot see the difference in the color because the background is too dark. So I would rather, on the dark backgrounds, I would rather play with white druzy, to be honest with you, instead of color druzy. If you want to play with color druzy, I really recommend to use white or very light background. And now we are gonna add a little bit of Diamond Kiss, which is premium glass flakes, to make the druzy a little bit more sparkly, and it's gonna make a big difference when you will play with the light. It's gonna show much more reflection. So this is the Diamond Kiss to finish the druzy, and it's also attached to the color and white druzy. Now we are gonna take some Ethereal Dreams and we are gonna put it into the resin. I actually, for those 5 ornaments, I mixed 50 milliliters of resin in total. And I'm applying a little bit to transparent resin now, and I'm pouring around the edges. And remember that druzy is always soaking in the resin because there are some empty spaces in between. And that's why I really think that next time I'm gonna try to let the druzy cure with just one line of resin around, and just we will see what is the actual difference, right? And I didn't have enough, so I'm mixing a little bit more, and I'm just pouring around and let it sit for a little bit. And glitter is always very nice to use, but I actually try to use glitters which are not very intense color. That's why I love Ethereal Dreams and Goddess Whisper from Druzy Goddess sets, because they're white, half silver, and they're giving you some bling, but it's not very intense bling. Now I'm just filling in the spaces in between when I was still seeing a lot of canvas not covered, and just picking through in between of the druzy. And now I'm taking Goddess Whisper, which is extra fine white silver glitter, and I'm pouring it on a second line around. And usually the first line of resin is soaking into the druzy a lot and it's disappearing, almost disappearing. So the second line, it's usually, this is what we are gonna see on the cured product. Just always remember that part of the resin will go underneath. And I'm adding just a 1 drop of crystal white from Colorberry white pigment, and I'm dipping the edge of the bamboo stick and I'm adding to the cup as well. So it's just like micro dosage of pigment, and I'm mixing both white and river blue from Colorberry. Those are pigment paste, just plain pigment paste without any mica, any shimmer, nothing. I'm adding just a little bit more. The pigment from is actually liquement from Colorberry, and it was not flowing out of the bottle, so I decided to open the bottle and just pour it from it. And camera is always changing different shades of the blue. You can see that the real product and the real color is much more turquoise. It's not as blue as you can see here. It's not like as cold blue. It's much more turquoise. And the same with the druzy. The lighter druzy is much more turquoise than blue shade that you can see here. But it's always like that with camera and the turquoisey greenish, green-blue colors. And as you can see, I'm moving the resin with the stick. And it's super high viscosity, so it's staying on the lid. This is why I love working with this resin on small projects, because it stays where you put it. You don't waste resin, you don't have a lot of drip-offs, you don't have half of your product on the silicone mat. I literally mix 10 milliliters per ornament and it was enough to cover it. So that's why I love it. And the second thing is just it's curing so fast, and you can have this space empty and ready on the evening for another project. And I'm adding also here, but already, you know, I'm not a huge fan. I just wanted to make it like a side experimental piece, but I'm not a huge fan of this like very, very dark blue plain finish. And that was it. And the resin was cured. I allow it to sit for a few hours, and on the evening I was already ready to paint with the varnish. And I'm having floating pigment powder with sealing varnish for oil paintings, and I'm painting with a very fine brush because I like those lines around druzy to be very, very fine and not too thick. And this specific brush is also attached to as a bonus gift to Druzy Goddess sets. And I'm finishing all of the ornaments, and actually I decided to finish some of them a little bit different because I didn't love the way that it was showing off around the druzy. So I actually added for some of them a little bit further away, and I was finishing with white. And you can see me playing with Posca pen. So I was having white, and I was having also light blue color in two different thicknesses, 1M and 3M. And It's actually, you can add a lot of different colors. You can also play with a little bit darker colors. It all depends on what you decide to choose, but I would stick to 1M and 3M pen size. It's enough. And I was just, you know, trying different things and different lines. And the good things about Posca pens is that when you draw on top of a cured resin, it's actually so easy to wipe it off with baby wipes. And I'm always having baby wipes and very soft toilet paper, and the moment that I decide that I don't really like it, I'm just wiping it clean and I'm trying completely different things. So you will be able to see how the process of making the different decisions and trying different things looks like in reality. This is actually the second style that I was talking about. I decided to move the gold line a little bit further from the center because I was having a pretty nice margins of white lines with glitter, and it was just a matter of experimenting and trying new things. So always have the courage to test and try a little bit different things than usual, especially with such a small pieces like ornaments. It's so much new space to try and test and experiment and just have fun and do things differently, and sometimes even trying different combinations of colors, different line work, and you sometimes can even surprise yourself and you can discover something completely new. And those coasters are really giving me some Mediterranean, even like Greece vibes of the, you know, coastal, and also just the colors and just the shapes. I don't know, they're giving me a lot of holiday vibes, so I think they're really cute and perfect for having some cool holiday and beach additions on your Christmas tree during the winter. It's gonna give, you know, bring some good and positive memories from the holidays and from vacations and summer and the warm breeze. So I don't know, I was thinking about it a lot when I was finishing the ornaments and painting. So it's really I'm just showing you that you can try and test different things, even if they're sometimes outside of the box and not very similar to other artists, and especially if it's not similar, because I think ornaments are not, the geode style ornaments are not new thing, but you can always try to make them different and you can make them your own. And now I'm trying to just different colors, different finish. And as I mentioned, whenever, and gold lines with the varnish, they're much more difficult to remove, but you can still remove them. You can actually use the same varnish, but just clean on a little bit of baby wipe or a little bit of cotton pad, and you can wipe it off, but you cannot wipe it with just plain water baby wipe, the gold lines. And yeah, the acrylic lines you can always remove and redraw, and you can test different pen colors, you can test different sizes of the pens, and always remember that actually the top coat, I'm always using top coat when I'm working with Posca pens because they're really easy to scratch. But also there's really something important to remember is that the top coat is always changing the vibrancy of your pens, and it's making them a little bit more soft and off-white. They're not so bright anymore. So yeah, it's always a learning curve, and I hope that you can learn a lot before you start your own project and before you will be pouring yourself. And if you order in the past few weeks some of the Druzy Goddess sets, I always attach a few of the ornaments, so you can actually use the ingredients from the sets and the glitters and the brush and the druzy to actually make some ornaments with me. So I'm super excited to see everyone who actually got the set, what you will be coming up with, and I'm really looking forward to see your own creations. And I also will be experimenting more. I actually, a couple days later, when I'm now recording this video and I'm making the voiceover of the process, I actually created a few more soft color looking ornaments with some pink, dusty pink, and I really love the look, so I think it's gonna be my next project. So if you're really curious about different combinations and different looks, stay tuned and subscribe to the channel to see other creations that I'm gonna come up with and other designs. And now it's time to top coat it. I'm having actually here some glass cast resin because I was top coating another painting and I was having still some resin in the cup, and I used glass cast 3 for top coating this, and it's a matter of just pouring from the stick, but be very careful when you are moving resin with such a sharp stick. You can easily scratch the lines, so be very careful. I'm just making sure that the resin is applied very precisely all around the druzy, and that's it. You just need to torch it at the end of the process and leave it for curing. And you can use exactly the same Apex resin, the 2-hour curing resin. And actually, if I will start in the morning, I could probably, with 2-hour curing resin, I could probably be ready by the end of the day, even with the top coat. So that's really cool. I'm not having a huge space for working with resin, so I really like that about Apex one coat resin. And it stays where I'm pouring it. I was having no drip offs from the resin that I was pouring from the Apex resin, and I was having quite a lot of resin on the mat from the top coat because it's much more runny. So this is a good thing, especially if you don't want to waste a lot of your resin and you want it to stay where you pour it, right? Because we know that resin is not easy, and not easy like cheap medium. So I really like that about Apex resin as well. It's high viscosity and it stays where you pour it. And now it's time to remove the tape, and the most tricky part is the tip of the ornament, because I was having quite thick pour from the resin after top coating it, and I want the top side to look clean. Like this is exactly the part that I was talking about. So even though it was thick part of the pretty thick pour from the resin, it still stayed a lot in the place and didn't run over the edge. So that's really cool. And yeah, you really need to warm it up. And if it's not gonna be clean and very even, you can always cut it, warm it up again, and then cut it with knife. I was actually taping it later a little bit differently to allow cleaner finish, but look at the sides. Everything is perfect, no drips, and I'm using some high gloss Liquitex varnish, and I'm dipping the edge, and I was trying to dip it, but I'm like, oh, the cap is too deep, so I needed to use the brush, and I put the brush on top of the tip, and I was dipping. I was having some different colors and shades of glitter, and I dip the edge, the tip in the glitter, as you can see, and just opening. Here was missing a little bit, and just opening those little holes for a nice look. And just make sure that the sides are also painted in with varnish and covered with varnish and covered with glitter, because it's gonna look much nicer. Or even the back side, it's gonna look much nicer if you finish it with varnish with glitter than when you will have to like paint it. And again, adding a little bit of varnish and I was trying more chunky glitter this time, but I actually didn't like it, so I wiped it off and I changed it to fine. So I would really recommend to use fine glitter instead of chunky. I don't know, it was just my personal preference. I think it was looking much more smooth, much more delicate, and you can choose whatever color you want. You can choose gold, whatever you like. Champagne gold. I think the next time I'm gonna finish them in champagne gold. Now it's time for just finishing touch on the sides to make sure that everything looks nice and professional. We are gonna use the gold leaf pen from Krylon, and we're gonna paint the sides, and everything is so perfectly nice and clean, but I want to make it a little bit more special and a little bit more professionally looking and elegant. But I don't want to paint on top of the tips where we have the glitter, because it doesn't gonna look good. So make sure that you cover the sides of the top of the tip of the ornament with glitter, not only from front but also from sides and even from the back side, as I mentioned. And there is nothing really complicated here. We are gonna just paint all of the ornaments around with gold pen, and that's gonna be, you know, the last step. And I have an idea for more ornaments, but I'm not sure if you are interested. So if you really like me to create more different color combinations and different designs on the ornaments in geode style, make sure to leave some likes and to subscribe so you will not miss it. And then if I will see that it's very popular video, I'm gonna create more. Or if you have any idea about color combination that you want to see, leave it in the comment. I'm always taking notes from my subscribers about future projects, but there will be much more to come, more paintings, more functional art. So if you want to see more creations, not only in geode style, but just in general with resin or even alcohol inks, stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, and I'm sure that you will not regret this, because I'm having a lot of projects in my mind that I'm gonna show you here, and we will learn together how to make them. And yeah, I'm so excited. So hopefully I will see you on the next video and we'll do some amazing things together.